Welcome to spring
Yes.
in Wisconsin. Hey, everybody.
And Brad and Christa, it's spring. It's April 3rd. Woohoo!
Country Life News, engage, ladies and gents. Spring.
It has sprung.
Ta-da! We have got some crazy, awesome stories. We got a lot of fun. We've got some information, stuff and
Things.
things.
That's my favorite.
Oh, we're talking about bugs.
Bugs.
Talking about farmers.
Yep.
Talking about eggs.
Eggs and fertilizer.
And much, much more.
Yes.
Let's get into it so we can get inside.
Please.
Holy bugs, Batman. Cicadas.
Yeah.
Oh, if you guys can think back 13 years ago, 17 years ago, X amount of years ago, there's different stages of when these cicadas come up out of the ground.
Yeah.
And they make piles and piles of crunchy exoskeleton shells.
And not just a small amount. Trillions of these little creatures are going to be coming up out of the ground.
Do
and
read.
I am honestly not looking forward to this. I really don't remember
Oh, I do.
when these came out. I don't think I've ever lived in an area where they've come out.
It shifts across the country,
Right.
but go ahead and read a skim because it's a long article. But
Okay.
good old Seth Borenstein, he wrote about this in AP. So
Sure did.
do tell.
Trillions of evolution's bizarro wonders, red-eyed periodical cicadas have that have pumps in their heads and jet-like muscles in their rears. Are about to emerge in numbers that not seen in decades, and actually, I wouldn't say possibly, but actually centuries. Crawling out from underground every 13 or 17 years with a collective song as loud as jet engines, the periodical cicadas are nature's kings of the calendar. These black bugs with bulging eyes differ from their greener tinged cousins that come out annually. They stay buried year after year until they surface and take over the landscape, covering houses and sheds with shed exoskeletons and making the ground crunchy.
Yummy. Let me grab that because I want to show way down here. I got the article here. Yeah, check that out. This spring, an unusual cicada double dose is about to invade a couple parts of the United States, in which the University of Connecticut cicada expert John Cooley called Cicada-geddon.
Oh my God.
Why is it always got to be geddon?
And it's not.
Why is it always got to be geddon? So the last time these two broods came out together was in 1803, where TJ, Thomas Jefferson, you remember him? He was a president.
Was he really?
He was.
No, I
he
know.
was. He did some important writings.
A little bit.
Who wrote about cicadas in his garden book, but mistakenly called them locusts. I think this is great, though. This the periodic cicadas don't do subtle.
No,
Cooley says.
Not at all.
So here they come out of bug holes.
In the ground.
They're going to be emerging.
Right. Well, and
Look at those guys.
there's so gross.
Oh, yeah. So 13 years, 17 years, different ones coming out of the red Georgia clay. Let me tell you what, though. I gotta say, the sound. You have not experienced.
I don't think I've ever experienced it.
I did when I was traveling, and they were coming up out of the ground in a different part of the country because we lived in Florida. Hey, in the comments section down below, have you guys heard the sound of the cicadas? It's close. I wouldn't say it's deafening, but it's so loud, and it kind of gets in your head, and you can't even escape it inside the house. When we were traveling, we were in a hotel, and it was so loud you had to turn the TV up loud just to
be able to
get
hear it.
over them indoors. Wow. And then when we went outside the next day, there were piles of them 3 feet high that were wedged into the corners of the buildings that had blown the dead ones in there.
The exoskeletons, yeah.
The dead ones.
Gross.
So, first of all, have you heard that sound? You've heard some bugs in Florida that get loud.
Yeah, right. But probably not this. And, honestly, I may have heard it when I was a kid. I honestly just don't remember. But it's not just, they said in the article, a couple of states. It's not just a couple of states. It's 19 states.
Yerp.
I mean, it's the almost the entire eastern seaboard, the whole half of the eastern United States. From way up here in Wisconsin, it's going to be milder, but it's going to be, if you've seen the map, I've seen a map where it's like mostly red. I don't know. But I have seen a map where it shows the eastern United States mostly all red with the invasion of the cicadas. No. So it must be a different
looking dude.
That's so
however, here's the thing. In this article, they do point out that birds will feast.
Our chickens are going to love it.
They're going to have full bellies. Mm-hmm. The only thing I was thinking about, though, is anytime you get such a big influx of any one animal into an ecosystem, usually other animals have a reaction. The pendulum swings the other way.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden all these birds are just full, what is going to be the reaction to the ecosystem after that?
There's going to be other bugs. There's going to be more worms. There's going to be...
Because they're not eating them as much?
They're not eating the other things. Yeah, exactly.
See, I wonder about that. I wonder... it reminds me of the red sparrows in... We're not allowed to say the... we're not allowed to say the...
It's a very large
very
company,
eastern country. Mm-hmm. We're not allowed to say it, but you can think that it might rhyme with the word Ina.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Google.
It's a very beautiful plate.
Yes.
So
the Google red sparrows, and what had happened was some geniuses on the government level over there decided they wanted to get industrial production and farming up, because they had made some big screw ups beforehand that were not doing so good in lots and lots of people. So they decided, well, these red sparrows, they're taking away too much of the grain and produce and everything from our farming sector. So we're going to go ahead and just kill them all. We're going to kill all the red sparrows. So they ordered everybody to go out and do what they could do to take these red sparrows out. They would bang pots and pans together because the red sparrows could only stay in the air a certain amount of time because their hearts were going so fast. They would literally give out.
They would have heart attacks.
So they would bang in pots and pans. They'd go up by thousands. And they would basically just take these red sparrows out. Well, and guess what happened? Shortly after that, bugs like this, but grasshoppers, locusts, bugs like this came out and decimated crops because there was no natural predator to stop them.
Right.
So when I hear of things like, okay, there's going to be a big swing in any ecosystem, I'm also thinking, okay, here's Brad. I'm thinking of opportunity, number one, like, how can I get these things for my chickens? But number two, what's going to happen on the other side? What is going to happen after this?
Right. What kind of bug is not going to be taken out because the birds are not eating that particular bug? And that's going to overrun crops or whatever.
Or even, and I don't know this, I'm just hypothetically musing, what if birds don't fly south for the winter as quickly as they would because there's plenty of food still here?
Well, this is only going to be taking place for about a month. 4 to 6 weeks is when the cicadas are going to be around.
There's still going to be loads of them on the ground.
There's still going to be loads of them on the ground, but they're only going to be here for about 4 to 6 weeks. So that's a plus at least. So I think for Wisconsin, June is going to be our main
Cicada-geddon is what that guy called it. Cooley.
Right.
Cooley.
The few things that we do need to pay attention to are our fruit trees.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it does say that. Yep.
Because fruit trees, the cicadas like to dig into the bark of the fruit trees. So I did do a little bit of research a few weeks ago, and I found that if you wrap aluminum foil around the trunk of the tree, they won't climb up the tree. So
is that a thing that's okay, now I'm going to ask you, because is that a old wives' tale, or is this a thing that is actual?
Yeah, that's something I don't know, because, I mean, I'm going to say it's an actual thing because everything you read on the internet is true, right?
Sure.
So, right. So that's where I read it, and
therefore it's true.
No.
What do you guys think? What do you know? Hey, this is part of the reason why this program is around. Because you know what, if it stops it, that's worth a roll of tinfoil. Because we've got a small orchard that I really don't want to see get decimated, because it took us a long time to get those. And this year should be the year that they're finally really producing.
Exactly. So I read the tinfoil around the base and then nets over the top. So we'll have to get some netting, something to keep the cicadas out.
Like a lunch lady.
Right.
With the netting over the top.
Right. Took me a second there.
We got to get tree netting. That'd be
tree
cool.
netting, yeah. But we'll have to wait until after the flowers, the blooms on the trees have been pollinated by the bees, so that the fruit will actually then come in.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting year.
It's going to be an interesting year. Yeah.
All right.
And of course, today's weather, even more interesting.
Well, it's snowing.
We'll show you all about it here in a little bit.
Well, if we already haven't. I don't know the order of the
We don't know
video
the
yet.
order. We just got to figure that out. Yeah.
So, all right. What are your thoughts? Comments down below.
Yeah.
Bugs.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Heads up.
Yeah.
And you may have wondered, wait a minute, where's all the snow? It's outside.
It is outside.
We decided to move it inside.
Right. It's too windy, too cold to be outside. Nope.
Let's talk about farmers.
Yes.
Well, we got trouble, my friends, right here in River City. So farmers all over the European Union and India are basically being legislated out of existence with climate stuff and government stuff and red tape, and they're being forced into out. Yes, that does make sense.
Forced into quitting farming.
They can't turn a profit. They can't exist. And here, I wanted to show you, check this over here. This is the AP, which is not known as being generally fair or balanced. They definitely have a leaning that is not conservative.
Right.
And that's why I actually picked this site, because these are stories that are going on right now or within a couple weeks that are happening. And if you look this page, I think there's something like 8 major stories of farmers over there who are protesting because of one single thing. Regulation is forcing them out. So you've got here, Czech farmers block traffic in Prague. You've got farmers. Go ahead and read some of those headlines for me, like that one.
Right. Farmers rally around Welsh capital in latest protest over proposed environmental rules. Farmers march in Poland's capital, cut off roads in Spain to protest Ukraine's imports EU policies. Angry French farmers with tractors are back on the streets. Wait,
sorry,
go back.
Sorry.
Back on the streets of Paris for another protest.
Down here.
Farmers from 10 EU countries join forces and tractors to protest agricultural policies.
Here's another one.
Thousands of farmers advance on Madrid for a major tractor protest in EU policies.
Still going.
Over. Holy smokes.
I told you.
Polish farmers block Ukraine's borders as they intensify protests against non-EU imports. Without us, you don't eat. Greek farmers drive tractors to parliament to demand financial help.
So
this is nuts.
Now, true, this is AP. True, this is their agricultural section. However, How many of those stories did you guys even know about?
Right.
Honestly.
Right. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I knew about the Greek farmers, and I knew that there was a problem with the Dutch, and we actually make an effort to stay at least aware, not obsessed, but aware of what's going on.
Sure.
And boy, oh boy, here's what I'm hearing ringing in my head, okay? The world of agriculture, because the world of agriculture is a world of food production for the world, has ripples. And if it's happening over here, and this is just the last few weeks, major, I mean, look at these tractors. Okay?
Gee whiz.
And this is going on all over, just not in your backyard yet.
Right. Right. Yeah, he's right. These are happening. These have all started in February, March, and now into April. These are all going on. These are different countries who are making different environmental changes to these farmers, and farmers can't scratch out a living being a farmer.
They're being forced out.
Yeah. If they're being forced out, what's that going to do to food production?
And your cost?
Your cost of food?
It's kind of like
accessibility to food?
I guess, you know what? Maybe we could just all eat cicadas. I'm laughing because
No.
there's been a lot of news lately about eating bugs. And you know what? Bugs are a lot cheaper to manufacture than, cows.
Yeah.
Ooh, Brad, don't get nasty. I'm being a turd because I don't think that this is random.
No, this is not random. Coming to a theater near you.
And what we're seeing over there.
Right. Well, so what were the regulations that were just happening in Oregon with the dairy farmers?
You tell me.
We talked about it just a week or two ago about these dairy farmers that Oregon was making regulations on. I honestly can't even remember all of the article.
Oh yeah. To force them into logistics for infrastructure for smaller farms, that if you did not have X, Y, and Z logistics stuff, like for your manure and water runoff. Water runoff was the big one.
Right.
That they basically said you cannot have these farms anymore, but the small farmers and the people there protested and got it pushed back.
Right.
That's what's happening over here, guys.
Yeah.
Now, when it spills here, here's the big question, ladies and gents. Comment section down below. I'm going to ask this in a way that I hope is not nasty, but provocative in a good way. Does the West, United States, have the stomach to push back like they do there? Because what I see is the frog in the pot kind of scenario. What I see here is people talk a big game.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, we would never do that, never do that, never do that. I'll never put that thing on my face. And then if I can't go to Walmart, I'm going to put the thing on my face, right? What I see is a society that, unfortunately, talks bigger than the action. Now, Oregon proved me wrong in that they did push back and they did do what was right and they won.
Yep.
That's why I'm asking, does the United States have the stomach to truly push back, or do we sit and let it roll over us?
Ooh, 100 years ago, I would have said no.
What do you mean no?
No, we would not have stood for it.
Right. Okay.
Now, I'm not so sure. Because like you said, I'm going to put this thing on my mask because, I still need to go to Walmart or to the grocery store or to the hospital. I'm going to put this thing on my face. It's there. How do I frame this where it's not going to...
Too late.
Yeah, then I'm just going to stop.
Well, just circle back. Do like the White House. Circle back.
I don't do word salad. No, I don't do word salad. I don't do that.
I'm no vice president.
No, thank goodness.
No. Do you think that people will actually take time and say, no, I'm going to take a financial hit now at my farm, at my place of growing, at my chicken house, at my this, I'm at my that. Will I take the hit now to slow things down so that the people who are in power go, oh, we better change that? Or do you think people are such tight margins now that they just simply can't?
I think you're right. There's such tight margins they just can't. And I think what they'll do is they'll just end up selling their farm to some big conglomerate, which is what's been happening over the last 30 years. Wisconsin went from having, what was it? We did this, and it was a lot of farms. It was like tens of thousands of farms 30 years ago. Now we're down to...
It's like 10% of it.
We're down to less than 10,000 farms. And but the cows have increased. And they've increased the amount of milk that they produce. 30 years ago, they only made 13,000 pounds of milk in a year. In a year. Now it's close to 30,000 pounds of milk in a year. That's insane.
Well, see, but then you're making the argument that there is no problem with the food system.
No.
Because you're saying that even though there's fewer farms, they're still outputting where they should be.
They're still outputting more, actually double what they used to.
Then the argument would be there's no problem at all.
But the thing is, we know many dairy farmers, large dairy farmers, okay? We just talked to a dairy farmer. Nice.
Hold on. I got to get away from this screen.
Please do.
Hold on.
We talked to
We don't control the ads that pop up on these sites.
Not at all. We talked to a friend of ours who is a manager of a farm, and they milk 2,200 cows.
Every day,
twice a day, or probably 3 times a day. I'm not exactly sure how many times they milk. They make so much less money than they used to because of subsidies, regulations, and there's so much bureaucracy about how the farmers do things that, what was it that the Seth told us about? Phooey. They have to, if they want to do a certain thing, they have to make sure that all of the boxes are checked to be able to do said
red
thing.
Tape.
All of the red tape is just absolutely insane to be able to get subsidies.
And they have to do that to stay in business because the laws have forced them to do that to stay in business.
Exactly.
And from my understanding of it, it's only the big dairies and farms that can continually grow that even can find that slimmest of margins to stay in business where it edges out everybody else.
Right.
So I would say, because the argument is still there, that if they're producing more, well, great, right? Well, I would say then more control from people that are not farmers over farmers is a very bad thing.
That is a very bad thing.
How about this? Farming is not one size fits all.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, you ask any 100 farmers about any one thing, and how many answers are you going to get?
You're going to get 100 different answers.
And they're always
right.
If they're smart about their own property.
But the thing is those 100 farmers have found a way that same thing
works for them,
but different for every other farmer.
Yeah.
So
there is no one size fits all farming.
There's not.
And so these people that are getting edged out over in Europe, forced out by regulations and climate this and climate that and climate this. And guess what, folks? If you really want to make change, forcing people is never the way to go, because eventually people are going to say no more.
Right.
And so, I don't know. What do you guys think? Comment section down below. I believe there is no such thing as one size fits all farming.
Nope. Absolutely not.
All right. Moving on. So have you been noticing a weird trend with a lot of big farms with strange gobbledygook that is technical. Gobbledygook going on with animals and eggs and yada yada and yippee skippy.
Yeah, I have. Definitely have.
Let's take a look at, well, this.
Yeah.
Top egg supplier idols plant after Texas bird flu outbreak. This happened yesterday, ladies and gents.
Yesterday, folks. This article came out yesterday, so I'm guessing the day before it was happening. So Cal-Maine Foods, the biggest egg producer in the United States, has culled roughly 3.6% of its flock. Okay, 3.5% of its flock. That comes to nearly 1.6 million laying hens.
Wow.
And 337 pullets because they have tested positive for avian flu, adding concerns over a widening outbreak. But of course, you have to talk like that, right? No, they have destroyed these birds. Were destroyed, and production at the Palmer County plant is temporarily ceased. The company made a statement. Shares of the producer plunged as much as 6%. Oh my. That's the biggest bird flu casualty in the U.S. since December 7th. So just a few months ago, not that far. When 2.6 million birds were killed on an egg farm in Ohio after the virus was found at the facility. So this is not good.
Well,
Not good at all.
Now this event, this happening, I was going to say story, but I don't like using the word stories when it comes to things that actually happen.
Right.
It's just, I don't know, it's always rubbed me the wrong way. Because it's not a story, it actually happened, this bit of news.
Yep.
It's not just here. It's happening more and more in different areas of agriculture, whether it's dairy or, whether it's corn, not soybeans as much, but definitely tomatoes, chickens, beef. We're seeing a lot of crazy, weird, specifically targeted diseases that are happening, and they're happening a lot more. Now, the question I have is it because we now have far better reporting that we're seeing these things more often, or is it because they really are happening more often?
Do you want my thought, or you want me to give you the canned answer that the teacher wants?
Both.
Yeah, sure.
Which one is that?
That's the canned answer that, no. So I honestly think our food systems are being attacked. I really do.
Like intentionally?
I think intentionally the powers that be, don't want us to have good, healthy foods. They're jacking with it. And I wish they'd just stop.
Well, now the farmers aren't doing that. Why would they hurt
I'm not
their
talking
own
about
businesses?
the farmers. I'm not talking about the farmers.
Be careful, tread lightly.
I know that's my problem. I don't have a very good filter. You know that.
She says I don't.
We both don't have. Mine's worse. Mine's way worse. I just don't have a filter.
Well, with that said, we'll let your mind roam there.
Yeah,
However,
exactly. You guys think on that one.
I would say that in other industries, it is very plain to see when certain big producers who have the favor of lobbyists,
yes,
when they have the favor, everybody else seems to all of a sudden have all kinds of problems with legislation and laws and regulations, and all of a sudden the ones that are not favored really have a hard time staying in business.
Yeah.
Now, whether that's here or not remains to be seen, but what I would say is this. What is obvious is when you stick tens of thousands of animals in a very, very small confined area, guess what? You're going to have all kinds of different problems that you would not have if they were just roaming around in your yard.
Well, okay, yes, I agree with that, but how can you imagine, 1.6 million laying hens roaming around in your yard? not really a good idea with all of the manure that's going to be taking place. No, I get you. I know
My
you're being
point,
silly.
though, is that I know that we have a food production system that has high demands. Let's say it that way.
Yes.
There's a high food need. Therefore, the farmers are responding with the best they can. And the best they can means a mechanized production system, which I get it. They're responding to the market. And I'm not throwing any stones. I'm not egging your house, because why? It cost me $50.
No, that's such a waste of eggs.
But the point is that I get what they have to do. I understand it. However, it comes with a price.
Yes.
And the price is going to be, unfortunately, a horrible life for those animals.
Yes.
And then diseases that come along with it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I mean, if they don't have access to fresh air, sunlight, fresh air, sunlight, fresh water, sunlight. How many more times can we say this? If an animal is cooped up into a cage
all the time,
5 to 6 per cage for their entire life, how are they going to
be healthy,
fight off an avian flu epidemic? I'm looking at
good food
and make a product that is going to be healthy for you later on. Okay, look at these chickens in this picture. These are caged.
Poor girls.
These are caged chickens. Their crops are not supposed to be flopped over like that, and they're very dull in color.
Yeah, look at their color.
The color is very dull. Exactly. The color of the crop should be a brighter red, should be standing up. It's not.
And I'll bet you whoever took this picture, because you can see the cages, and I know, trust me, folks, I know how you have to frame things when you take a picture. And if they don't want to show something that looks bad,
they won't.
They're going to frame it just the way that they need to. And I'll bet you those were the healthiest chickens they could find.
Yep. Yeah.
They didn't want to walk far into that. Can you imagine? I have been in industrial chicken egg facilities that are just gigantic, long rows. And you got these just short areas between the cages, and it's like chunk, stacked up. And tens of thousands of them. Yeah. And all I can say is, first of all, I understand that farmers need to do this in order to supply and demand, right? I do wish that there was less intrusion from the government so that they could actually turn a profit by doing better for the animals and better for the food and better for you and better for the environment. Right. Because if the government would get their hands out,
yes,
then they would be able to do what they need to do without intrusion.
Absolutely.
I think so.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But it's even better if you are able to have chickens yourself.
Wouldn't it be better?
It is so much better.
I love our chickens.
I do. I love having fresh eggs every morning, and it's such a joy. And our chickens are so much fun, especially when we come and bring them a treat from, kitchen scraps. Oh my goodness. They're the cutest little velociraptors I've ever seen, right? They come running.
And don't forget, they are omnivores.
They are omnivores. They do eat meat, and they enjoy it, and they need it. That's really funny.
Let's just say, if you've ever witnessed this happen, you're going to know what I'm talking about.
Our people here.
God forbid the poor snake that tries to find his way into the chicken coop, because that thing is going to get decimated within seconds. They're like, Funk.
They do. They go after it.
It's like it's flying around, and they just pulling it apart. They're omnivores.
They are omnivores. There is no such thing as a vegetarian or a vegan chicken.
Doesn't exist.
Does not exist. Chickens are omnivores. They eat vegetables and they eat meat.
You may feed a chicken, just grains or whatever, but that's not what they're designed to do.
No, and if your chickens are allowed to go outside, guess what? They're eating bugs.
They're going to find bugs.
They're eating bugs and worms.
And they're going to love it.
They love it. Yes.
So, thoughts down below on basically mega farms.
Just be mindful of what's going on around you guys.
And be respectful of the farmers.
Be respectful of the farmers, because the farmers are not doing this to your food.
On purpose.
On purpose. No.
You know what? We're going to move on here in a sec, but I have never met a farmer who just said, you know what I got into farming for? Money. Lots and lots of money. I want to be filthy rich. Never met one like that. I have met people that grow up in it and they're like, they need to turn a profit in order to exist, but they love the animals. They love being outside. They love providing for other people. They love the variety of work that they get to do. They love the idea of being part of a solution to feed people. I've never met anybody who's like, you know what? Daddy Warbucks, here I come.
No.
I'm going to be the egg mogul of Western Wisconsin.
Oh my goodness, no. No.
I don't know. Thoughts down below. Okay, so ladies and gents, we are not a sponsored channel in that we've got like businesses that help us pay the bills, and we just don't.
No.
As a matter of fact, we actually have a second channel in which I do completely 100% ministry only. It's Bible devotion, prayer, community building. People are gathering together. People are praying for each other. We read the scriptures, unpack it. There's no fighting. There's no arguing. That's a Monday through Friday thing. And I'm inviting you. And why am I tying that to we don't have sponsors? Because everything's free. And we want you to know that there's no gotcha coming.
No, there is no gotcha. It is completely free to be a part of the forum, to pray for others, to have them pray for you, for your concerns, to download music he has them on CDs, but you can also download them onto your device, your phone, your computer, whatever. But it is straight scripture music set to music. Did I say? I did say straight scripture music set to music.
Sure. We know what you mean.
It's that word salad again. Holy smokes. But it is completely free to join, to be a part of an amazing community. It has helped so many people, including our family. Our kids listen, and they have learned so much over the last 5-6 years, that they are very strong in their faith. And when they hear something at church, is like, wait,
is that what? That doesn't line up.
That doesn't line up, right?
Or it does.
Right, exactly. And so they're hearing confirmations everywhere they're at, and they're able to defend their faith, which is amazing.
The fancy dancy word is exegesis.
Sure.
So
we go with that.
I'm kidding. The YouTube and the website are the same. It's everydayoutreach.com. But go ahead and open up a new tab and join Everyday Outreach on YouTube. That way you can get to the devotions, you can get to the prayers, you can get to the community. And like she said, it's all free.
It is. Yep.
Everyday Outreach. And you'll be doing us a favor to spread the word, because, we live in nutty times.
Oh boy, do we.
And we really need to cling to God more than we ever have. Amen. So everydayoutreach.com and YouTube, Everyday Outreach.
YouTube.com @ everydayoutreach.com. No. YouTube.com / everyday outreach. The links are in the description box, so just look down there.
All right, back to it.
So this poo really stinks.
The next story?
The next story, yeah. It's not really poo, it's fertilizer.
Filled with nitrogen.
Lots of yummy, delicious chemicals.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Actually, there's a very interesting backstory into one of the major fertilizer producers, BASF. You might want to look into that. The company that makes the magnetic tape and all the kind of different chemical-y things. they have a very interesting history in fertilizer.
I did not know that.
But let's find out something that's a little more modern.
A little closer to home.
Like a week ago.
Yeah.
All right, I promise you, we are not going to go to conspiracy land with this story. As fun as the tinfoil hat is to wear, I'm not putting it on. But this is a concern. Just want to bring it up. Not a terribly long story time here with Brad and Christa. But go ahead and read this, because this is a concern that I honestly never considered.
Right. So as the port remains closed over in Baltimore, concerns rise over fertilizer. So it has been a week, folks, since the bridge collapsed. The Francis Scott Key Bridge has collapsed. There are signs of the shipping channel maybe reopening sooner than expected. Cranes have been busy clearing the debris from Dali, the ship that collided into one of the bridge's columns, and the early morning of March 26th, sending the bridge tumbling into the
Potomac.
No.
Patawa?
Patapsco. Thank you.
I don't know.
River, likely
I was even
killing
looking. I was making a note.
Yeah, likely killing 6 people.
Yeah.
Which is very sad, and prayers to those families. Meanwhile, the effects of agriculture continue to unfold as planting season is just weeks away from starting. Chip Bowling, who grows nearly 2,000 acres of corn, soybean, and wheat in Maryland, is waiting on when he will be able to get his shipment of 30% UAN, which I have no idea what that is, except fertilizer. He says he got an email from his fertilizer distributor stating that his shipment would be delayed until April 20th or later. That's not good.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, I think this is something that we should be heads up on and looking forward past the immediate event.
Yep. So we should always be looking past the right now.
Yeah. So will there be a ripple effect? Boy, we're seeing that more and more and more.
Of course there's going to be a ripple effect.
But
it's one of the largest ports on the eastern seaboard.
But here's what, okay, here's my concern, guys. I do obviously sympathize with the families and the whole chaos that went on there. Truthfully, honestly, sympathize. Thinking further ahead, this was one bridge, one portal to get into a port. Yes, Baltimore's a big port, no doubt. One ship, one bridge. Now things got to get rerouted. Here's my question. If we're always been, lately a lot of these stories we're seeing is that there's a ripple effect with all of it. Whether it's protesters over in Europe, farmers, or whether it's cicadas, or whether it's all kinds of stuff, there's a ripple effect. And if this is one portal, one bridge, what would it look like if it was a bigger systematic problem? You see, there's my concern.
I laugh not because what he's saying is a joke. I laugh because if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. This could be very devastating for the world, for the United States. And the world, because, well, no, not necessarily, because we don't really send stuff overseas.
Not fertilizer.
No.
Most
well,
of it
not
comes
just
here.
fertilizer, but like different crops. I mean, we send wheat and they send stuff, and it's all, it goes back and forth, but not nearly as much as what comes from overseas to here.
Now, the big thing is not necessarily will there be amazing scarcity, in my opinion. It would be that prices go up. So, because then boats, ships got to get rerouted. Yep. That means costs go up because they're not just going to absorb the cost.
Oh, God forbid.
The producers are not going to just say, well, stinks. We got to take a 25% hit this year. No,
I don't think so.
They're not going to.
They're going to pass that on to you.
Right. So in a season where we're heading into an election era, every little bit of that ticking up in your costs, well, guess what? Things get a little bit nutty as you get closer to elections. So if you have the means, you may want to stock up on some things that you may have on your list. You want to get, if you got the money to do it now, you may want to look at your preparedness items and go, well, you know, I could use X more, or I could use X more. And so heads up, folks, the ripple effect.
Yeah.
Ladies and gents, do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button.
And share it with your friends. Truly helps our family out. We are so very grateful that you watched our
Country Life News.
Our
Shenanigans.
our craziness.
Our
chaos.
hootenanny. Would it be a hootenanny? No, I don't think that's a good word usage.
Probably not. No. But,
so I hope you have enjoyed your time.
Yeah.
And please do check out everydayoutreach.com. We're building community.
Yep. Come join it.
You should be a part. So there it is. I'm Brad.
I'm Christa.
You guys have an amazing
And blessed day.